list, and at number 10, we have Pripyat, Ukraine, which was the city most affected by the Chernobyl nuclear disaster in 1986, an infamous incident that released a massive amount of radiation out into the world. The accident forced entire towns to abruptly empty out, and the area within a 19-mile radius of the plant was deemed uninhabitable for at least another 180 years. Absolutely insane. There are a ton of spooky photo ops, but the most famous is the decaying amusement parks. I mean, talk about creepy. How to visit the Chernobyl region is about 2 hours away, and tours range from private visits to multi-day itineraries. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure one day is enough for my itinerary. I don't need an itinerary because I'll remember what I'm doing and it's only lasting one day. At number 9, we have Kennecott, Alaska. Nearly 200 million worth of copper was processed in Kennecott, a self-contained mining town located in Wrangell Street, Ellis National Park from 1911 to 1938. Well, according to the National Park Services, as these stories usually go, the residents cleared out once the copper resources started to dwindle, and most of the buildings now have been abandoned for over 60 years. Well, there is hope on the horizon. However, the NPS acquired many of the Kennecott's buildings and lands in 1998 and hope to restore some of the buildings like the post office and the general store for modern use. Well, do you want to see a cool and creepy photo? Well, our pick would be empty skating rinks, you guys are seeing an empty tennis court, or how about visit the NPS run visitor center, which is open from Memorial Day through Labor Day, where you can actually pick up brochures or arrange a guided tour with the park ranger. Kennecott's recreational hall, which is fully restored in 2004, which is also available to rent for events. Next up, number 8, Bodie, California. Now this is one old west ghost town you're looking for. Once home to 10,000 people, Bodie boomed in the late 1880s after gold was found in the hills surrounding Mono Lake. Not long after though, Bodie transitioned into a period of steady decline until reaching ghost status around 1915, according to California Department of Parks and Recreation records. So why is this city such in great shape today? Well, you could thank the state of California for adopting the town and turning it into a state historic park in 1962. Coming in number 7 on this list, Waiuta, South Island, New Zealand. In the early 1900s, miners built a town right on top of a whole lot of gold-bearing quartz rocks, which would go on to produce 750,000 ounces of gold from 1.5 million tons of quartz. I'm kind of seeing a theme here where gold is creating immense popularity and wealth before destroying the very places it was found. People mine the gold, and then when it's all done, they get the heck out of there, leaving the town abandoned. Well, by the 1930s, the town had its own hospital, police station, and post office, plus a population of 600. The isolated city thrived until the main mining shaft collapsed, and that was back in 1951, forcing residents to abandon their town. Today, the Department of Conservation works to preserve the remaining buildings and hiking trails around the site. The department even converted one of the buildings, the Waiuta Lodge, into a 30-bunk facility for school groups and campers needing overnight accommodations. It is said that the original signpost pointing to a mining industry that no longer exists make for a great photo. Folks venture westward from Reefton on State Highway 7 and keep following the signs for Waiuta onto an unpaved road until you reach the spooky destination. You can explore on your own using the unmarked trails or a book tour in advance through friends. I don't know what friends would escort you through a haunted town, but it doesn't sound like great ones. I think you need to lose them. Number 6, we're bringing you Oradour-sur-Glane, France. Warning, this is quite a dark story. On June 10th, 1944, German troops raided the village of Oradour-sur-Glane and murdered 642 men, women, and children. Is this real life right now? Well, National Geographic reports, after the massacre, the military set fire to the churches, barns, and homes, leaving behind only a few surviving residents. The village has remained untouched since the horrific accident, serving as a shrine to those who died that June day. Number 5, we got Pyramidion, Svalbard, Norway. The archipelago of Svalbard, located between mainland Norway and the North Pole, is home to about 2,145 humans. Not a lot. 1,000 polar bears and one seriously bone-chilling ghost town, Pyramidion, named for the pyramid-shaped mountain looming nearby. Pyramidion came to prominence in the 1930s. when the Soviets took ownership of the area's coal fields and quickly began mining operations. After World War II, they started spending more money on the enterprise, building hospitals, cafeterias, and houses, all in the block-style fashion typical of the Soviet-era architecture. The biggest hit came in 1996 when an airplane flying from Moscow to Svalbard crashes en route, killing all 141 passengers on board, many of them Pyramideian residents. The tragedy slashed morale, and it was fully abandoned in 1998. As for the site today, Rachel Newer of Smithsonian Magazine sums it up perfectly. It was as if several hundred people had abruptly stopped what they were doing and simply walked away. At number 4, we have Tamestown, Shanghai, China. China is a big fan of replica cities. In fact, Shanghai has 7 European-themed towns built to give wealthy residents a new place to call home. There's a Dutch-inspired canal-lined neighborhood, a Paris replica completed with a 300-foot Eiffel Tower, and even a slice of Sweden-inspired churches and Nordic houses included. But we're particularly fans of the Thames town. A British copycat just 40 minutes from downtown Shanghai. Here you'll find a scale replica of the Christ Church, statue of Shakespeare and Winston Churchill, and even some familiar red telephone booths scattered here and there. As curiously cute as this mini city sounds on paper, well, it ended up being a complete failure. In fact, all of the 7 experimental towns are now pretty much abandoned. Well, how do you visit? Well, travelers are more than welcome to walk the cobblestone streets of all 7 replica cities. To get to the Tamestown, they recommend taking the Shanghai Metro 9 to the Songjing Xing station, and because I'm pronouncing those words absolutely correct, you guys won't get lost. And then, if you make it to the station that I just said, you can take a taxi for the rest of the way. Only about 2.5 miles away and about $2 USD. Finally down, and at number 3, for abandoned towns you shouldn't visit, we're talking about the Great Saltire, Utah. And if you find yourself in Salt Lake City, Utah, you'll probably hear about the Great Salt Lake, or the Dead Sea of America, where you can float on the water. Now, I must tell you that you'll encounter corpses of dead seagulls, swarming flies, and a putrid odor. If you take the plunge, there's no way to miss the Saltire, a huge building with Moorish domes that you can see at the same time when you can smell the stench. The Saltire that you see now is actually the 3rd one. The first one was built in 1893 in order to provide a safe venue for recreation for families. It became immensely popular with all kinds of events until its pavilion and few other buildings were ravaged by the fire in 1925. Although it was built a second time, it never achieved the same popularity. In a period marked by the Great Depression, World War II, and several mishaps, it finally got destroyed in an arson fire in 1970. The third one was built in 1981, approximately a mile away from the original venue. But you kind of take away the whole history of it, so I can see why it never became as popular. Now, number 2 on this list, we have Silver City, Idaho, which was at one point one of the largest cities in Idaho. So just imagine one of the largest cities being abandoned. Imagine where I live in Toronto, I'm going out my door, and it's like, where did everybody go? Well, the town was established in the mid-1800s during the, well, you guys guessed it, the gold and silver rush of the western United States. By the 1880s, the town's population rose to 2,500 people. At its height in the 1880s, it was a gold and silver mining town with a population of around 2,500, and it had approximately 75 businesses. As mining in the area began to die down, so did the city. In 1942, the last mine in the area was closed. Well, you can still visit Silver City, which currently has around 70 buildings, including old churches, a hotel, and it has a lot of old homes that you can see. And finally, in at number 1, when it comes to the creepiest place in America, no one can miss Bannock Ghost Town because of its paranormal stories. This old mining town is located near Grasshopper Creek in Montana. The area is famous as a National Historic Landmark and operates as a state park in the US. The photos of this place are wild. Literally, it looks like the quintessential Wild Wild West. To enter Bannock, follow the easiest ways to get there. From Dillon, you can take the interstate highway route to quickly reach your destination. It was famous as a mining town, but then moved towards a visiting place, and gradually the town got empty from the residents before the 1960s. Now visitors come to explore the unlocked buildings.
Starting at number 10, we have a potential ghost sighting from Masterbuck's YouTube. YouTube. For his Halloween special, Masterbucks decided to check out a house that his friend said had been abandoned for a month. According to his source, the construction workers assigned to the house refused to return after several injuries occurred mysteriously on site. The house has been sitting empty for a month, and so Masterbucks decided, you know, why don't I take this opportunity to check it out and see if I get scared. What happens next is something no one really expected. For the first bit of the video, it seems to be more entertaining than actually scary, but until 5.5 minutes in, he freezes, and I could hear breathing like right next to the camera, which was really far away from him. He immediately gets spooked and leaves the premises. Did you hear what he heard? Let us know in the comments. So coming in at number 9, we have this video from YouTube Gem Parks. Now, okay, this video kind of made me want to cry because when I first saw it I was like, what is that? But I have to admit it really doesn't take much. It's unclear as to where exactly this property is, but this explorer and YouTuber seems to have encountered something strange. About a minute into this video, you can see on the right hand corner in the doorway some small kind of creature peering around the corner. But when he turns the corner, there's nothing there, not even some object that could have been resembled like a broomstick or a coat hanger or anything like that. Then at around 2 minutes in, some kind of shadowy woman is shown tucking in the corner. Could it be the same creature we saw earlier, or something else? Now, you may take a chance and go exploring an abandoned house at night in the hopes that you'll find a ghost, but unfortunately you get out unscathed, or so you think. Coming in at number 8, this cameraman thought he missed out on a ghostly encounter while exploring this abandoned building. He was wrong. YouTuber Derelict Mafia went out to explore the abandoned Westboro State Hospital to see who he might meet. When he got back home to review the footage, he noticed these two bright eyes following him. If you watched the video the first time, you could totally miss it, so I completely understand his oversight the first time. At first, I considered whether they could have been a cat or nocturnal animal of some kind whose eyes tend to glow in the dark, but could one be hanging from something on the ceiling? But the eyes appear to be almost too centered in the hallway, as if instead they belong to a person just standing there. We can't, of course, be sure. Now, this next one's for all my fairy folklore fans. It's not a ghost this time. Surprise! Coming in at number 7, we have a potential fairy encounter. Now, for those who think fairies are mostly the friendly kind that live in Neverland, may I introduce you to the folklore of the Fae. Beings of great power that delight in trapping lost travelers in winding forests through tricks and pranks. Many fear coming across them, but apparently not YouTuber Erwin Sanders. While exploring this otherwise empty forest, Erwin describes this sighting as the first real fairy encounter. Now, right away, Erwin seems like the kind of person who would attract magical forest creatures. I mean, look at him, he's literally the sweetest person. So it's almost no surprise when a tiny humanoid-like creature begins spying on him. If you look carefully, you can see the fairy begin to pop his head over the brush right over his left shoulder. Now, it's unclear which forest he's in specifically, but apparently according to fairy lore, fairies could be anywhere waiting, even in your own backyard. So next time you go wandering the woods, abandoned or otherwise, think about whether you are really alone. Coming in at number 6, we have the murder room. YouTubers Sam and Colby returned to an abandoned warehouse to return a box that they sold previously from a place in the warehouse called the murder room. When they enter, the YouTubers report feeling heavier and brought up memories of the last time they were there. Doors slammed, birds attacked them, you know, all other strange happenings. But then, around 14 minutes in, they begin to hear chanting approaching the building.
Oh my god. Here. Take this.
It's really creepy. It's this like ethereal church chanting. The chanting is eerie, and the explorers report they could see the group beginning to set up some kind of ritual? What? Terrified, the YouTubers then try to make their escape, hoping to remain unnoticed. As they exit the building around 18 minutes in, they hear a massive bang.
Let's just walk back.
Did we just say that was the creepiest thing that's ever happened to us in our entire life?
Dude, I'm...
Sending them bolting away from the house. Who knows what could have happened? They definitely didn't run into any ghosts, but perhaps they ran into something a lot more sinister. But honestly, I'm kinda glad we didn't find out what. Number 5! YouTubers exploring with fighters found something so shocking they had to call the police. Coming in at number 5, we have this video which shows a chilling discovery. This is the second time these urban explorers have visited this property and returned after so much hype from their first video after all of the strange occurrences they experienced last time. They reportedly found a Santa doll through a hole in the wall and messages from spirits in the house that potentially showed evidence of demons. Now in this video, they've returned in order to see if the messages were true, and now here's where it gets creepy. The further they dug into the wall, they eventually found something that shook them to their core.
Especially, after the Romania series, I didn't think anything could top that. But I think this will.
Whoa! Wait. Don't touch that. This is now a crime scene.
Human remains. They called the police immediately and left the scene after speaking to them. This video is surreal in what they didn't actually come across a ghost. Can anyone deny that they might have been sent messages to find whoever was left behind the wall? Coming in at number 4, we have a ghost sighting filmed by YouTuber Freaktography. In March 2016, while exploring an abandoned house in Ontario, Canada, Freaktography caught something that can't quite be explained. When I first watched this video, I totally missed it, but after it slowed down, boggled. Now at first this video didn't seem very creepy to me, but then once I saw it, it sent my mind whirling. Did you see it? As the video slows, a translucent shape flows past the screen in a blur. I'm not sure what could explain such a strange shape. Could it be dust or a bug even? But one thing is for sure is that even after watching it several times, whatever it is, it's not easy to explain. So now we're reaching the top 3, and before we do, I just want to remind you guys to give us a like and a follow and a subscribe and a comment and tell us that you love us in some way or shape or form, because it really means a lot to us. And just to let you know, as we go to the top 3, I had to touch on these 3 places that are just so creepy, that have so much of following that they're guaranteed to be haunted, and you're guaranteed to experience something when you visit. So check out. Next up, at number 3, we have Poveglia Island. Again, this is another place where you are guaranteed to encounter something you'll never forget. Poveglia Island in Italy used to be a hospital for all those with the bubonic plague, and that over 160,000 corpses were burned to ashes and thrown into mass graves. After that, it became a mental asylum, apparently ran by a malicious doctor who performed experiments on his patients. He reportedly was driven mad by the ghosts of those he tortured, and he threw himself off the clock tower. Unfortunately, the island has been shut down, and anyone who trespasses can receive criminal fines, but that doesn't stop people from taking a boat and getting as close as possible. Those who do report hearing blood-curdling screams, heartbreaking laments, and other strange noises. Some even hear the bell toll from across the bay, though it was removed years before. But the strangest thing is that scientists have recorded a powerful electromagnetic field surrounding the entire island, but there's no electricity. Coming in at number 2, we have the abandoned fort of Bangalore, India. This is said to be the most haunted place in all of India and is strongly believed to be cursed. This historical ruin has accumulated so many stories that no one is allowed to enter the fort at night for fear that they may never come back. 2 people have gone missing for just that, and though a third was recovered, they mysteriously died on their way to the hospital in a sudden crash. Another group of teens broke the rules and reported seeing a young boy sitting alone in a room, except there were no accessible doors or windows to access it. So how did he get inside? As for why the place is cursed, there are 2 prominent stories. One involves a magician who tried to trick a princess he loved, though went horribly wrong, and another involving a guru who cursed the entire town where the fortress resides. But one thing's for sure, if you do ever dare to visit, don't trespass at night. Coming in at number 1, we have a poltergeist house in the Isle of Wight. Year after year, well except maybe this one, tourists flock to the historic lands of the UK, and many ghost hunters make sure to visit the Isle of Wight, also known as the Isle of Fright. Known by tourists as a picturesque place of beauty for its near untouched green landscape, but the lore surrounding it has dozens of people claiming to have seen and heard things they will never forget. One such place that has people running for the hills is the Poltercombe House, a grand picturesque mansion that sadly remains a shell of what it once was. It was destroyed during World War II, but many have reported sightings of ghost carriages, monks, and strange lights filling the house. As there are too many encounters to count, this site is considered the most haunted place on the Isle of Wight, or Fright, as most call it.
Starting off number 10, we have Fort Abraham Lincoln Cluster House in North
Dakota. You'd think that if your house was haunted by the love of your life, you'd kind of be okay with it, maybe. But that's what happened here at Fort Abraham. General Custer built this home for his wife, but unfortunately he barely got to spend any time in it. Custer died in 1876, and his wife decided that even in death they would not be parted. Mrs. Custer apparently haunts the home and has been spotted in her morning gown walking around. Lights flicker on and off, and sometimes phantom voices echo when no one else is there. Whether or not Custer resides in the house with her, we do not know, but the romantic in me hopes that in some way they have been reunited. Number 9, the Hager House, Hagerstown, Maryland. This house is crowded when it comes to hauntings. It is currently occupied spiritually by 2 families, the Rowers and the Hammonds. Jonathan Hager and his wife Elizabeth purchased the plot in 1740, but died in a tragic accident in 1775. After that, his son inherited it and passed it to the Rowers, who, when they died, passed the house to their relatives David C. Hammond and his sister Susan Armstrong. By the 1840s, though, a strange string of sudden deaths occurred. 4 of the grown children of the Hammonds died within 3 months of each other. Now this house sits empty in this world, though anything but in the next. Visitors report hearing disembodied voices and objects moving on their own. Number 8, LV Farm, Kent, UK. In 1998, the village of Pluckley was verified with the Guinness Book of World Records to be the most haunted village in England. LV Farms is one of the reasons for that claim. Built in 1406, the first residents of the home were ghosts. Apparently, as many claim the house has never been without them. Visitors report hearing footsteps creaking around the house, which some say could be Robert Dubois. Robert Dubois was a highway workman people say preyed on the villagers until he was stabbed for his crimes. But the spookiest occurrence that happens at the house is the one belonging to the tragic death of Edward Brett. Brett owned the farm in 1900 until one day he apparently said, quote, "I will do it," walked into the dairy farm and shot himself. Visitors report hearing a voice whisper those very same words before they hear footsteps leading out the door. Number 7, Monte Cristo Homestead, New South Wales, Australia. If a house ever has a tragic past, it is almost like guaranteed something sinister is about to happen. It's just a thing. It's one of the reasons real estate agents, for the most part, have to disclose whether someone died in the house or not. Superstitious or not, it does change the way people look at the place they're about to live. Be honest, guys, if you were told that somebody died in your house, what would you do? What would you do? The Monte Cristo homestead was built by the Crawley family in 1876, but soon after, tragedy struck. The haunting began the day the young daughter of Christopher and Elizabeth Crawley was dropped down a flight of stairs by their maid. The maid claimed that it was a mysterious dark force that threw her from her hand. Regardless of how or why, the death haunted the couple. When Christopher passed away, this tormented his wife even more, who reportedly left the house only twice before her own death since then, and then stayed thereafter. Families who have occupied the house periodically ever since have reported feeling sudden agitation by the stairs, or have even heard Elizabeth ordering them to get out of the house. They could hear steps on a wooden floor despite the house having been carpeted years later. If anyone chooses to live there for any amount of time, they have to decide whether they can live with another family and that they'll never be alone. Number 6, the Myrtles Plantation, St. Francisville, Louisiana. This 18th century plantation, along with its 600-acre land, carries with it a dark past. Only one murder was ever confirmed on the estate, but it is suspected that over 10 lives were taken. One of the most famous ghosts who reportedly walks the ground is that of Chloe. Chloe was a slave who poisoned the birthday cake of the daughters of Clark Woodruff to take a small kind of revenge. She apparently didn't intend for the girls to die, only to fall ill, but when they did die, her fellow slaves were so fearful that Woodruff would find out that they hung Chloe for her crimes. This is one of the tales that gets fluctuated over the years, but the verified murder was that of William Drew Winter, who was shot on his porch, reportedly crawled back into the house, climbed all the way up to the 17th step on the stairs in time to die in the arms of his love. Both tales have sparked sightings of spirits on the ground, and in Winter's case, visitors reportedly see and hear bloody footprints crawl to the 17th step only to then stop. Number 5, the Bell Witch Farm. John Bell had a very interesting neighbor named Kate Batts. She was suspected of being a witch, and John made the foolish mistake of cheating her out of land. On her deathbed, Batts set a curse upon him and claimed that she would haunt the family forever. So, when he began hearing knocking sounds on the walls and the doors and chains being dragged around the house, he knew it was her. But Then things started to get worse. His daughter began getting pinched and scratched, even beaten by invisible forces. Even John reportedly felt the stick being stabbed into his throat. John mysteriously died on December 1820, and many believe that Bats was responsible. For 200 years, visitors still report seeing orbs and hear talking and walking when no one is around. Could it be that Bats trapped the family with her to haunt the house for the rest of time? Maybe. But should you wish to visit, perhaps it would be wise only to view from afar. Number 4, the Loretta Lynn Plantation. In 1966, the same year Loretta Lynn's dear Uncle Sam swept the radio, she bought this 1876 plantation. Despite rumors that 19 soldiers were said to have been murdered there in 1863, Lynn paid no mind. But soon after moving in, Loretta and her family, of course, began experiencing very strange interactions. Her son Jack said he saw the spirit of a Civil War soldier taking off his boots. Then her son Ernest reported seeing 2 soldiers standing at the foot of his bed. And there's more. Her twin daughter spotted a woman in white sobbing on a balcony, and this time Loretta saw it too. In order to solve the mystery, Lynn reportedly held seances in the house. But then her son Jack tragically drowned in 1984, and Lynn and the rest of her family moved out. She opened it up to visitors eventually, but requested that not a single object in the house was to be touched. If they did, it would come at a terrible cost. When a tour guide accidentally touched an object, they were shoved down the stairs by an invisible force. Apparently, the ghosts in the house agreed with Lynn's demands, or were they demands they made of Lynn? Either way, though it may be open to visitors, if you do visit, perhaps keep your hands in your pockets. Before we get to our top 3, guys, if you like this video, you know what to do. Do the thing, like the video, subscribe, do a little dance, enjoy it. I don't know, do what you need to do, but we love you for liking our videos. Number 3, the Basilica Axe Murder House, Basilica. This next house literally has a sign outside that says Axe Murder House, so I don't know, I guess it's nice that they aren't trying to hide anything. It's pretty transparent. The story goes as follows. On June 10th, 1912, Josiah and Sarah Moore, along with their children, were bludgeoned to death inside their home. It is one of America's most infamous cold cases. No one knows who did it, and the home remains preserved exactly as it was on the night that they died, besides the bodies. Though many report that their spirits remain. The house remains a tourist attraction, and there's even a steep price to pay should you wish to stay the night. There's no running water or electricity, so that's kind of charming. Besides the lack of running water and no electricity, the $400 fee, it may just cost you your life. Allegedly in 2014, a paranormal reporter stayed at the house, and at 12:45 in the morning, the owners got the call. The man was covered with stab wounds, which authorities later reported were self-inflicted. Whether or not someone drove him to it, no one knows. The owners reportedly had people stay there all the time for the same price and nothing happened, but apparently just this time something weird happened, so who knows? Maybe the ghost had had enough. Number 2, the Dandy House. Imagine finally walking up to your dream house, excited for what's to come next. And then somebody yells behind you, "What are you doing? You can't move here!" Which is exactly what happened to James Link the day he and his family moved into this beautiful farmhouse. Seeing the family move in, a neighbor drove by with this warning. Prior to Link, the Dandy family had been the owners from 1970 to 1974, and recalling the events they endured, their neighbor couldn't resist giving a heads up. Among hearing the typical disembodied voices and haunted footsteps, which belong to every haunted tale there is, they saw chimney bricks removed by invisible hands, and often their bodies would have inexplicable burns on them. The suspect no one quite knows enough about until one night the Dandies awoke to find a male spirit in a plaid shirt and blue jeans holding a rifle at the end of their bed. No thank you! Over the years, the family performed exorcism after exorcism, but the spirit always returned. The Links experienced the same thing, so they got the heck out of there, and today, the Dandy House remains a treasure trove for all ghost hunters. Number 1, the Old Arnold Estate. Okay, so we all know I'm a wimp. As I was writing this one, I was in my house alone, and I didn't want to move from where I was sitting, just in case my place was randomly haunted suddenly. Anyways, the movie that still haunts me to this day is The Conjuring. One of the scariest nightmares I've ever had comes from that movie. So when I say you couldn't pay me $1 million a year for the rest of my life for me to sleep in this house, believe it. The Old Arnold Estate is the farmhouse that inspired the film The Conjuring. 8 generations of family lived and died in this old house and apparently never wanted to leave. When the Perrin family moved in the 1970s, the advice they got was to leave the lights on. According to town records, 3 people committed suicide, 2 people drowned, 4 people froze to death, and lastly, a girl was brutally murdered. One of the reported was was that of a rumored Satanist, who I will not name, cause reasons, who was reportedly the main reason for any attacks in the house. Famous paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren tried to help the Perron family in the 1970s until they ended up moving to Georgia in the 1980s. So, don't go there. Don't go there.